Distinguished guests, please make your way to your seats. The dinner will begin shortly. Thank you.
All right, guys, so what you just saw there was Hunter Biden schmoozing at the White House state dinner, the same dinner that Merrick Garland attended after the GOP broke bombshell evidence, whistleblower evidence, that the DOJ was trying to cover up and interfere into the Hunter Biden IRS investigation, as they were trying to charge him with multiple felonies for presumably evading taxes, you know, a crime that would send people like Wesley Snipes to prison, okay? They ended up giving Hunter Biden a slap on the wrist, again, after the DOJ allegedly interfered, okay, and basically tried to slow walk this investigation into Hunter Biden on behalf of Joe Biden, the big guy, of course, right? And speaking of the big guy, the GOP also has text messages, WhatsApp messages more specifically, that are direct evidence that Joe Biden was in the same room with Hunter Biden when Hunter Biden was discussing business deals, in this case with China, right? Which is the exact opposite of what Joe Biden told us back during the campaign trail, which is that he never spoke with his son about his business dealings, okay? So with these bombshell allegations now out in the public, okay, this is direct evidence and proof that the DOJ has been weaponized, okay, that a lot of these government institutions have been weaponized by the current regime, the Biden administration. Surprisingly, the press, the media is actually asking the White House about this issue, okay? They're actually doing their job.
Here's what Gary Shapley, who is the supervisor, the IRS supervisor, who came forward. This is what he says. I am alleging with evidence that the DOJ provided preferential treatment, slow-walked the investigation, did nothing to avoid obvious conflicts of interest in this investigation. Of course, this means that Congress is going to spend more time investigating what exactly happened behind the scenes at the Justice Department and at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware.
Hey, Evan, you know, one of the things yesterday is I was kind of following this throughout the course of the day. Some of the messages that were released, that were made public, or the allegations of certain messages, undoubtedly draw your eye and make you ask questions if you're not inside the investigation. What are these messages, and do you think that what the agents wanted, that there would be further investigation, is possible now?
Yeah, I think that's the major part of what their complaints are. Again, these are two agents who were very seasoned, and they've been following this investigation very closely for years. And they say they were not allowed to investigate very thoroughly some parts of the evidence that they say pointed fingers at the sitting president, Joe Biden. And here's what Shapley said in this. There's a 2017 message that is purported to come from Hunter Biden to a Chinese partner that he's trying to get to pay him. And so this is what it says. It says, I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment has not been fulfilled. He goes on to say that essentially he will hold a grudge against whoever is not paying. And then he ends it by saying, I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Now, the importance of that is that, you know, Joe Biden has repeatedly said that, you know, he's never talked business, his son's business issues with his son. And again, this is a message from 2017. Joe Biden was not president at the time. But the question is, you know, where was this message and where was evidence like this thoroughly investigated by the FBI and the IRS?
And it just so happens today, right, because the White House probably knew they were going to get tough questions. They have the straight white male, John Kirby, up to bat to take questions from the media in regards to this issue. And John Kirby actually taps out and walks away from the podium after refusing to answer questions from the media regarding this issue. Take a look.
The House Ways and Means Committee yesterday released documents, their authenticity nowhere challenged. That included a July 2017 WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao, a Chinese Communist Party official, which stated in its entirety, and I quote, I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, If I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father, unquote. So just a couple of questions about this. First, does this not undermine the president's claim during the 2020 campaign and the reaffirmations of that claim by his two press secretaries since then, that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with him?
No, and I'm not going to comment further on this.
We're good.
I'm not. James, let me save you some. Let me save you some breath. If you're going to ask about this, I am not addressing. I know you do more than I'd like you to have. I am not going to address this issue from this podium. I'm just not going to do it.
All right.
I'm not going to do
Where
it.
was the president on the day?
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
The father's house.
Yeah, so alleged straight white male John Kirby says, hey, I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm not going to answer questions, okay? Which, you know, hey, this is what we should come to expect from the most transparent administration in history, right? That's what they told us. They're going to be transparent. They're not going to be like the other guy, right? They're bringing class back to the White House, okay? Like the time that they had a transgender woman go topless on the White House lawn, right? Yeah, okay. Again, the adults are back in the White House. But now we have Karine Jean-Pierre, the affirmative action press secretary, come up to the podium. And she got jumped by the press as well, too, on this issue. And she didn't do much better than John Kirby. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know. If you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can check out my merch. Like, for example, you can check out my fat phobic shirt, which is the shirt I'm wearing right here. I also have racist mugs with the 2023 definition of racist, which is anybody who disagrees with the left. I have those on my website as well, too. You can check it out at my website, gforemanbcp.com, and get 20% off using discount code TEAMBCP. So without further ado, roll the clip.
His son Hunter to the state dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and the decision-making of why the president decided to invite us.
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter is his son. I'm just not going to get into
Let me
it.
ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors
Well,
2 days earlier?
a couple of things. Again, that's his son. He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure you have. So that is not uncommon. As it relates to anything related to Hunter, I'm just not going to respond to it from here.
Can I follow up on that?
No, I just called in somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message.
What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share.
In the shakedown attempt?
I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
No, you didn't. Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of
My
you.
question is about your statements from that podium. You've stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I
of it?
will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, and I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change.
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, have you spoken to the president about this? Have you asked him whether he was there with his son on July 30th?
This is not a conversation that I've had with the president. Again, I would refer you to the White House
Do
Counsel.
you plan to have that conversation with the president?
No.
Did the president speak with the attorney general at all
I
last
can't.
night at the state dinner?
I cannot say if the president had had a conversation with the attorney general last night. What I can refer you to is the White House counsel's office as it relates to the allegations. They've already addressed this. This is something for them to deal with. I refer you to the Department of Justice on anything else if you don't want to speak to the White House counsel's office.
And there was
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, is that pathetic, right? That was pathetic from Karine Jean-Pierre. Again, you can tell the press is getting pissed. They're getting pissed off with the affirmative action press secretary and the fact that she refuses to answer questions at all on anything hard. I'll refer you to the White House counsel. Okay, well, what did the White House counsel say? Well, I'll refer you to them, right? You can't tell us what they said, right? You can't tell us what they said on this. No, she can't, okay? Because, again, this is what you get when you have an affirmative action hire. This is what you get when you coddle an administration and try to pretend that, hey, Orange Man's so bad, we're going to go soft on you. When you actually go hard on these people, this is what you get. They don't feel like they have to answer any questions. Again, I don't even see the point of having these press conferences anymore, right? You don't get anything out of it. She's not answering any questions, okay? She can't even tell you with a straight face, does she actually really stand by what Joe Biden said, that he never talked to his son about his business dealings, right? Because clearly, I mean, we have evidence to the contrary, right? We need some explanation for that. You speak for the president. You are the mouthpiece of the White House, and we can't get anything from you in regards to allegations against the president of the United States. It's despicable. So anyways, she recommended that the press go to the DOJ, and that's what they did, right? They went to the DOJ, and they didn't get much out of Merrick Garland either, outside of him claiming that the press asking questions, or put it this way, the GOP questioning the DOJ is an attack on democracy. Take a look.
Mr. Attorney General, Republicans in Congress have flirted with the idea of holding the FBI director in contempt. It's become a talking point on the campaign trail, the alleged corruption in the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies. Do the American people have cause to be concerned about the integrity of the components of this Justice Department, and what do you have to say about how they're acting?
I certainly understand that some have chosen to attack the integrity of the Justice Department and its components and its employees by claiming that we do not treat like cases alike. This constitutes an attack on an institution that is essential to American democracy and essential to the safety of the American people. Nothing could be further from the truth. You've all heard me say many times that we make our cases based on the facts and the law. These are not just words. These are what we live by. They are the foundation of the way we make these decisions. The agents of the FBI, as well as the DEA, the ATF, our deputy U.S. Marshals, every day, often at great personal risk, protect the American people and secure its safety. Our cases are based on their work. I could not be more proud to work with them.
Yeah, so it's a great thing that this guy did not become a Supreme Court justice, right? Probably one of the better things that Mitch McConnell has done, which is stopping Obama from putting that guy on the court. So, with that being said, as you can hear here, Merrick Garland is essentially accusing the GOP of investigating corruption that is going on in the DOJ, of basically undermining an institution and attacking democracy. You know, the Democrat talking point and the thing they say when they're criticized, right? They don't want to be criticized anymore. They claim that you're attacking democracy, which is hilarious because these same people, Merrick Garland, had nothing to say when the woke revolutionaries were out here basically undermining the sovereignty and integrity of our institutions by claiming that black people are treated differently by the criminal justice system, right? Again, you guys see how this works? When black folks, right, when woke revolutionary leftists come out here and question whether or not the justice system as a whole is treating people equally, that's social justice, right? That's fighting for civil rights. But when the Republican Party comes out here and accuses the justice system of not treating people equally, that's an attack on democracy. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing how this works. Clearly, the DOJ has been weaponized, okay? And Biden is using the DOJ to protect his son and to also go out to political opponents, right? Because again, if they will protect Joe Biden's son, if they will go out of their way to protect him, what else you think they're going to go out of their way to do on behalf of the regime, right? They're also going to go out to Trump, which is why we know all of this stuff is politically motivated. That is what's happening. And the evidence is mounting up. It's getting to be so much that it is undeniable, right? It is undeniable. Even the press is like, yeah, I mean, this is undeniable. We can't ignore this. And you know they want to, right? You know they want to ignore it. But if they ignored it, again, their credibility would be so damaged. I mean, it's already pretty damaged as it is now. But, hard to imagine them damaging it anymore. But if there is a way for them to damage it even more, it would be for them to ignore this, right? For them to ignore whistleblower claims with evidence from the IRS saying, yeah, the DOJ interfered in our investigation of Hunter Biden on his behalf in order to try to slow walk the investigation and ultimately give Hunter Biden a slap on the wrist for what should be felony charges. He should be doing prison time, right? Crimes that anybody else, if they would have done, would have, again, got prison time. It's amazing, right? It's amazing because I don't hear liberals screaming about white privilege, right? Which seem to be, something that they would scream about if this was anybody else, any other white man in this situation, okay? But again, it's not white privilege, it's liberal privilege, okay? It's Biden privilege, which is what Hunter Biden is experiencing. And it's just amazing that we have to jump through so many hoops to even get the press to acknowledge it and to do their jobs. But they did do their jobs in this situation. And they did ask the tough questions. And again, they should have been asking more questions about the DOJ's involvement with Trump, which they should now, right? Considering how it's kind of been proven that, again, they've been politically weaponized by the current regime, right? But again, you're a conspiracy theorist if you ask those questions. If you say, look, you should be asking questions about whether or not the DOJ has been weaponized against political opponents. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.